Hello, this is Mick Foley, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Trish Stratus, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored. Keep listening. Stratisfaction is guaranteed.
Aw, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website here on TSN 690 each and every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling. WWE Survivor Series goes down tomorrow night live in, where is this thing? L.A. Oh, man. Los Angeles, California. Staples Center. That's a big deal. That's a big arena. It's a big show. Big matches being made, including the Big Show. Although he'll just be in Cesaro and Sheamus' corner when they take on the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Authors of Pain. But that's really not a big match on this card, Johnny North. The big match on this card is the one that was made this week. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. And this is a champion versus champion match. And you might say, well, what? Last week on Wrestling Uncensored, I don't watch WWE. I just listen to Wrestling Uncensored, as we all do, because who has time to watch all that WWE nonsense? So last week on Wrestling Uncensored, it was AJ Styles against Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, because AJ Styles was WWE champion. What changed? Well, I'll tell you what changed. Daniel Bryan became the WWE champion this week on SmackDown. He beat AJ Styles, hit him with the knee, 1, 2, 3, clean, middle of the ring. Daniel Bryan is your new WWE champion. The hero triumphs once again.
Now, you're going to have to explain everything that happened because there's a series of events, and it's just like, this is very weird how this all unfolded in just a couple hours before Survivor Series, yet it happened. And I'm still amazed that we saw this.
Well, what do I have to explain? That Daniel Bryan kind of, in the match, moved AJ Styles to strike the referee and then kicked AJ Styles to the buttocks and then hit him with his finishing move, the big running knee. Is that what I have to explain? Or do I have to explain how this match all kind of came about, where Daniel Bryan was confronting AJ Styles at the top of the show, saying not to mention his name, stop talking about him, and then he attacked AJ Styles, and Shane McMahon declared that they wrestle a match at the end of the show.
And now Daniel Bryan is off Team SmackDown. He's no longer co-captain. They've dropped that storyline completely.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is no longer on Survivor Series, and we're going this whole new direction now.
It is kind of weird how it all came together with very little build to this happening. Like, it really came out of nowhere. Because the whole build to Survivor Series for Team SmackDown and Team Raw, really, was the dissension amongst the participants. The teammates. Braun Strowman and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, there's beef there. Miz and Daniel Bryan were the co-captains of SmackDown, and they have heat there. In fact, the plan, apparently, was for Daniel Bryan and The Miz to wrestle again at TLC in December.
I could have saw that, yeah, for sure.
So all of a sudden, that's not the plan anymore. Daniel Bryan as the babyface, taking on The Miz and going down the road to do who knows what, that's not the plan anymore. Because apparently Daniel Bryan was pushing to turn heel, and Vince McMahon decided Tuesday afternoon before SmackDown, we're going to turn him heel, and we're going to put the title on him. All right, pal, we're just going to do it. Just give the title to Bryan. Great decision, Vince. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing some people say, oh, it's not good. Why is Bryan turning heel? The way he won, it's not so good. I don't care. I don't care how it works. I don't care how he won. I don't care that he turned heel. He's still my favorite wrestler. Daniel Bryan can do no wrong. And, if you're a wrestling fan, a real wrestling fan, you kind of understand, it doesn't really matter If your favorite wrestler is a heel or a babyface, they're still going to be your favorite wrestler. Kevin Owens could do the most dastardly thing, and you'll still like Kevin Owens because you like Kevin Owens as a professional wrestler. It's not about heels or babyfaces for a lot of wrestling fans, like myself, like you too, Johnny North, right? You don't care if they're heels or babyfaces, really. You just want to see the best wrestlers at the top of the card. And Daniel Bryan is one of the best wrestlers, if not the best, in the entire world. And being WWE champion means he's at the top of the card. And he gets to show what he can do on the highest platform. And that's exactly what you want with Daniel Bryan. You want to give him the most time so he can have the best matches, and you can really see what Daniel Bryan is all about. The art of Daniel Bryan's wrestling on full display.
Well, the direction's completely changed with Daniel Bryan, where he was the good guy and now he's the villain. So now there's whole new feuds, just completely different set of attitude right now for Daniel Bryan. And in a sense, it's kind of what SmackDown needs, because it's been the same old show for almost a year now, and you needed some change. And yeah, you had Rey Mysterio, that's fine, but Rey against Daniel Bryan, it'll be a good match, but in terms of the feud going forward, yeah, it's not really that exciting.
Well,
now it is, though.
Now it is.
Yeah, now it is. But before,
Daniel Bryan as a heel really changes the game.
It does.
I love it.
I feel it's done for that, for SmackDown's benefit, and I think to help Brock Lesnar have an easier match. Because Brock wasn't expected to come back, and now to wrestle AJ Styles, that would have been a bit more difficult, I think, for him. Because AJ really pushed Brock Lesnar to have a really good match. Where Daniel Bryan, it just seems like Daniel Bryan surviving is going to be an accomplishment in itself.
I think with AJ Styles, because he's a babyface, the expectation was you have a competitive match, AJ comes out looking strong but maybe loses. And coming off last year, with AJ losing to Brock in exactly that, right? A competitive match where AJ looks good but he winds up losing. Doing it again this year wasn't really the best move. And we talked about it last week where we wanted AJ to win. We wanted AJ Styles to beat Brock. At least I did, right?
I would like to see it. I knew it wasn't going to happen, though.
Well, I thought that was the play. You put AJ over because he's AJ Styles. He's the man. He's been champion for over a year. He lost to Brock last year, but he beats him this year. But now with Daniel Bryan, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put AJ Styles over Brock. You can have Brock just beat Daniel Bryan. It's the first time they wrestle. Daniel Bryan is a heel, so he is not the best. He is just a guy that cheated to win and beat AJ Styles. Right? So he can lose to Brock Lesnar and get tossed around, and no one's going to be mad, and it makes sense in your story. And you can move on with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, with Daniel Bryan being the guy who has to cheat to win, and AJ Styles chasing him and being frustrated when he continues to lose.
Well, again, the most important part of this was to protect Brock Lesnar. The Daniel Bryan part, yes, it's going to help SmackDown, but SmackDown, it's the secondary show. Regardless of what people say or believe, it truly is a secondary show. What happens on Raw, that's the most important part.
Unless you actually watch the shows and you realize SmackDown is by far the better show in every single way. The tag division, the women's division, the men's division, all superior.
But in terms of the championship, though, they put Brock Lesnar's championship over Daniel Bryan's. It's always the main event, Brock Lesnar. It wasn't AJ Styles ever.
Well, it's the main event when Brock Lesnar shows up.
Right. But that's it. Pecking order, Brock Lesnar's number one. And the main thing was to make sure Brock Lesnar has the best time possible.
Has the easiest time possible.
Best, easy, whatever.
So
Brock's going to have fun, just like he had on Raw. That's why Brock looked like a good guy on Raw, going against Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers.
Right. Brock's a babyface, and Bryan's a heel. So it's designed for Bryan to just take a quick beating and lose.
It serves everybody. It makes all the Daniel Bryan fans happy because he got what he wanted, and Vince is happy because now Brock gets to destroy Daniel Bryan.
I just hope it's a good match. I think it will be because it's Daniel Bryan against Brock Lesnar. It's a dream match. I'd like it to go 15, but it'll probably go about 5 minutes. That's my only trepidation, I suppose, going into this one. I'm just like, yeah, it's cool and all, but I don't expect it to be what we want or even what Bryan would want out of that match.
Because Brock is lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we're stuck with Brock because Roman's not around. This was going to be Roman versus AJ. The plan was Roman, AJ, or maybe Roman, Bryan. But, Brock wasn't supposed to be in this spot.
Well, when we talk about plans, I mean, who knows what plans were? Because obviously plans have shifted so many times. This was not obviously even close to what they had originally planned, but it's what we got. And in the end, it's not bad. I'm still looking forward to this.
It's amazing.
It might be 5 minutes, but you know what? That's going to be 5 minutes. I'm going to be staring at that screen the whole time.
And if you think about what has happened for Daniel Bryan in the course of a week, he's become WWE champion. And he got his dream match. The match that he's been talking about, that he's been wanting for years, he's finally getting. And he's walking in as WWE champion. How awesome is that? And I talked about it a little bit on Dave and Johnny Live, which you can watch every Friday afternoon on YouTube, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, DOTNET, ringsidereport.net on YouTube, our YouTube channel. But I was, emotional. I was tearing up watching Daniel Bryan win the WWE Championship. The journey that he's been on. I was at Money in the Bank 2000...
I want to say 12?
12, maybe? Was it 2012? Where Daniel Bryan came out and did that announcement saying, I'm still hurt and I'm not coming back. Right? Was that what it was? Money in the Bank?
Oh, I don't know about that. I feel...
Maybe it was 2013. Or 2014, I guess? Because 2013, Daniel Bryan was in Money in the Bank. 2014, he was hurt. And he showed up, I think maybe just during the show at some point, to do a little interview. And you're like, oh, my God, Daniel Bryan's here. Because he'd been hurt at the time, right? This was in...
It was supposed to be him and Kane, I think, on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, maybe. Because he just dropped the title not long before June 2014, right?
Right.
Because he won it in April. And then maybe had it through May and dropped it in early June.
Well, they made him forfeit it, right? Because Brie would lose her job or something like that. They made it a storyline out of it. But he had to forfeit it because he couldn't wrestle.
Right. So this was actually a Money in the Bank match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight title, which was the unified title that Bryan had dropped. So at this Money in the Bank, his title was on the line that he had to drop because he was hurt. And this was his first injury, right?
Right.
And then he came back about a year later, and then he had the concussion issues, and he was gone for 4 years. So it really all started, I guess, in 2014. Because wasn't he back? When was he back? 2015?
About that, yeah. I want to say that. Maybe a little bit before 2015.
Right.
But something like that.
So I remember seeing Daniel Bryan back then and just being so sad that he couldn't wrestle anymore. This is a guy who dedicated his life to professional wrestling, and he had got to the highest point at WrestleMania 30, winning the WWE Championship, beating Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista all in one night, becomes champion, and then it all falls apart in 2 months.
Heartbreaking.
It was so sad. And then it seemed like his career was over. And now the journey that he's been on to come back and to wrestle again for the WWE, and now he's WWE champion again. It's amazing.
I just feel it kind of gets lost in everything that happened. Like, so much happened this week that it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, Daniel Bryan won the title. And by the way, he turned heel.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much thrown in your face this week. And now it's like, oh, yeah, now he's going to wrestle Brock Lesnar. It's like, okay, what?
Yeah. It was an insane week in professional wrestling. And the fact that this Daniel Bryan story got buried tells you how fire Becky Lynch is right now.
Well,
the whole week has been about Becky Lynch. Everything has been about Becky Lynch and breaking her nose and everything that's happened, and we will get to that. But I wanted to focus on Daniel Bryan a little bit because the journey has been incredible, and I was so happy to see him finally become WWE champion. And this is a guy who's been wrestling in the WWE now for, 9 months? It took a long time for him to get back to the top.
The way it was going, I didn't think he was ever going to get back. He needed something like this to get back on top. He needed something to change because the way it was going, he was not going to be WWE champion.
And the possibilities now, endless. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, of course. Daniel Bryan versus, maybe a babyface Randy Orton.
Well, we'll say Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy first.
Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy, those are pretty sweet. But if you think about Randy Orton, and I was thinking about him this week.
Good.
Because, he was maybe the top heel on SmackDown. We were thinking that Randy Orton was maybe going to be the guy to take the title from AJ.
I thought he was.
Because it made a lot of sense. If Samoa Joe's not going to be the one to do it, who else is out there that's a big enough name and a big enough heel on SmackDown that could possibly take that championship? And we figured it would be Randy. But now that Daniel Bryan is the champion and is the top heel on SmackDown, you would think that they would try to turn Randy babyface to put Randy up against Bryan. I mean, I know that AJ for sure is a feud that could last a little bit. Maybe Jeff Hardy, maybe for the WWE title, but I don't even know. And I'd say Rey Mysterio would be a question mark too. I feel like they would want to go with Randy. And of course, we've seen Randy and Bryan, a heel Bryan and a babyface Randy wrestle for a World Heavyweight Championship before in the WWE. Back when Bryan was a heel and Randy was a babyface. Remember that? Way back when?
Wasn't that the World Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was different. Yeah, it was a little bit different, but yeah.
Similar, yeah.
It'd be interesting if Randy won the Rumble and then faced Bryan at WrestleMania. That'd be pretty awesome.
I could see that.
But time will tell because it feels like they do AJ right now. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the obvious pick.
And then they move on?
No, but I mean for WrestleMania. Have
really?
AJ Bryan for WrestleMania. Why not?
Well, wouldn't AJ get a rematch here maybe at TLC?
You would think so.
Which, oh my goodness. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship in a TLC match. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. But I also feel because
it would be sick. Please do that, WWE. Please give that to us. TLC is the next pay-per-view in December. Bryan AJ in a TLC. Oh my goodness.
But if you look at past...
Please don't die. Just don't. Because you never know with Bryan. I hope he makes it through this Brock match.
That's going to be hard enough as it is. And I find TLC, the single matches, they're okay. I thought AJ had a pretty good singles, but I feel you got to put multi-man in that. It needs to be that. You need to throw in maybe Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, make that a four-way.
Nah, I think one-on-one is fine.
It's not as good because there's too much downtime because you have to sell the beatings you're taking in that match. But when you have two other guys, it kind of keeps the action going.
I don't know.
If you look back on, I think it was Kane, Del Rio, Edge, and Mysterio, that's what helped that match make it so good, was that when two guys are down, two guys can just step up.
Yeah. That's a point.
And Edge won, too, so it was a really good moment.
Yeah. Well, Edge, king of the TLC.
His last championship win.
Was it really?
Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan now going up to face Brock Lesnar. We both expect he's going to lose to Brock in pretty quick fashion, right?
Probably the quickest match of the night, I expect. All the other matches are going to be super long because they're Survivor Series kind of matches.
I hope they're not that long, though.
This is a 7-hour show.
Is it, though?
Yes. 2-hour pre-show.
So the pre-show starts at 5 p.m. Eastern, and the main show starts at 7 p.m., and it's supposed to go till, what, 11?
Let's hope. Not midnight, please.
It's not going to go till 12. It won't. It'll go till 11, and that'll be that. You have Bryan and Brock really is the main attraction to this one.
Well, they'll probably have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown men's. That'll probably close the show. It closed the show last 2 years, I think.
It's supposed to be on the oh, no, that's a tag match. The tag team Survivor Series match is on the pre-show.
Makes sense because that seems super long. There's so many people in that match.
Yeah, so there's, 10 guys on each side?
It's crazy.
So Team Raw is Bobby Roode, Chad Gable. They're the captains. The B Team, the Revival, Lucha House Party, and the Ascension. They take on Team SmackDown of the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, Gallows and Anderson, and the Colognes. Team SmackDown is a million times better than Team Raw. Team Raw is terrible.
Oh, Team SmackDown is easily winning this match.
They should. You got the Usos and the New Day. That's enough. There's no tag team on Team Raw that's anywhere near Usos and New Day level.
Plus, they got the club, too.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Okay, they're jobber teams. They have Sanity. They've got the Colognes. Okay, but Team Raw is strictly jobber teams. Ascension, B-Team, Lucha House Party just came on the scene out of nowhere. Even Roode and Gable. I mean, just to illustrate how much of a jobber team this is, Braun Strowman took all of those guys out on his own to start Raw this week. There was a battle royal to figure out the captain of this team on Raw to start the show, and Braun Strowman shows up and just beats everybody up. Every single guy in that battle royal, every single tag team on Raw was taken out by Braun Strowman. That shows you that it's nothing but jabronis in the Raw tag division.
So I guess Roode and Gable were the last two thrown out? That's how they figured it out?
Oh, you didn't watch Raw this week?
I didn't see,
They had a rematch later on in the show.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they did it again. So they started the show with it, and it didn't work because Braun Strowman just beat everybody up. So they did it again later, and that's when Gable and Roode wound up winning the Battle Royal. They just did it in the second hour of the show.
Oh,
or third hour.
That was very missable. That's good.
Yeah, it wasn't anything to watch. It's really... I mean, that's Monday Night Raw. Your average Monday Night Raw is pretty awful.
To be fair, one of the greatest moments this week happened. Terrible in a sense, but a must-watch moment where Team SmackDown showed up from the women and invaded Raw. That was huge.
Yeah, it was mostly huge because Becky Lynch got knocked silly and got her nose broken and was just bleeding profusely, a crimson mask.
Well, that wasn't the plan, though. The plan was...
but that, added to it, the visual of Becky Lynch standing there bloody, daring Ronda Rousey to come and get her. That was some badass stuff from Becky Lynch. She took that moment and she took advantage. She's like, oh, I'm bleeding like crazy right now. Let's use it. And she did. And it was great. Yeah. But, Nia Jax has got to take a lot of blame for what she did, hitting Becky Lynch. Very, very dangerous, completely unnecessary. Becky's got a concussion. She's now out of the Survivor Series match with Ronda. It's not good.
Well, for just a pull-apart kind of brawl that they had, to punch someone that hard, to give them a concussion, just seemed like it was a little excessive, the force that was used.
Yeah.
For the situation.
Completely unnecessary. And Nia has a history of hurting people. She has a history of being dangerous. We talked about it a little bit at length there on Dave and Johnny Live, but I don't want to bury Nia too much because she's taking a lot of heat this week. Of course, accidents do happen, but when you have a track record like Nia Jax does, is Nia Jax the new Mabel?
I think she's actually more over than Mabel was.
Is that too old of a reference for the Wrestling Uncensored universe? Is everybody following along with the Mabel reference? Mabel was a former King of the Ring, part of one of the, I'd say, worst tag teams in the history of the business, Men on a Mission. I mean, they were cool and all. I liked them when I was a kid, but you watch their matches and they're pretty awful. And Mabel hurt a lot of people.
Crushed the Undertaker's face.
Didn't do it on purpose. Was just big and couldn't really move that great and was not that athletic and just a sloppy wrestler who hurt a lot of people. Nia Jax reminds me of Mabel. She's, it's not her fault. She's not doing it on purpose, but rest in peace, Big Vis. He's dead, eh?
He is dead.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. Viscera was improved. Better than Mabel, right? Like, eventually he got better. He wasn't as dangerous, right?
Well, something we mentioned about Nia is that she hasn't been wrestling that long. And they thrust her into this huge spot on Raw to be one of the top wrestlers, and it's not easy for her.
She's not ready.
Far from it. But they have no one else to fill that role, so.
It's not like she's going to go anywhere. It's not like anything's really going to happen to her. So Nia Jax hurts Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is out of the match. And Paige shows up on SmackDown, and she says, we're going to have all the women out here, and Becky Lynch is going to choose who's going to replace her at Survivor Series. Becky Lynch looks up and down. Asuka's there. Asuka's like, I'm ready. And I'm like, yes, please choose Asuka. Please choose Asuka. Please. She didn't, of course. How sick would that have been? Just give me that.
No, I think that would have been a bad idea, actually.
Why?
Well, again,
that match would have been sick. That's the dream match. Like, I know a lot of people are saying, well, we're getting the dream match because Charlotte Flair was the one that Becky picked, and then Becky hugged her, and people are saying they shouldn't have hugged, but
they shouldn't have. That was stupid.
It wasn't great. Stone Cold wouldn't have hugged Charlotte. She would have said, you're going to get her, and then Stone Cold would have stunned her. Like, Becky should have maybe shook her hand, but the hug was a little bit much. It's like, I thought you two hated each other. What's the deal there? Wasn't a very badass move of hugging Charlotte there, Becky Lynch. But, Becky Lynch has done enough badass stuff that she's got the cred, and she gets a pass. However, the dream match to me is Asuka and Ronda, not Charlotte and Ronda.
The thing is, you have to realize, Ronda, still barely a year now wrestling. And she doesn't wrestle all the time, too, so...
And she's legit dangerous.
She is legit dangerous, and I imagine there might be some communication problems with Asuka. So...
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's wise at this point. I think maybe if they did some house show matches, got some reps under their belt, it'd be easier. But just out of nowhere, out of the blue to wrestle, I think Charlotte is a much safer, and I think you'll get a better match in the end.
This is risky, though, because Ronda's pay-per-view matches have been heavily rehearsed, from what I understand.
The Alexa Bliss one at SummerSlam? That was nothing. What the heck was that?
Apparently, Ronda practices with her opponents going into these matches. She was practicing with Nikki Bella to do what they did at Evolution, right?
It wasn't great, but okay.
But they practiced.
All right.
Okay? Her and Nia practiced the match. There are rehearsals for Ronda.
Good.
Yes. I think she's been practicing with Becky. She hasn't had time to practice with Charlotte. This was not planned. So this match could be rough. I'm not expecting a good match, and I'm curious to see what they do. And that's kind of the thing with Survivor Series. Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Those are the two matches that are selling this show for me, and I think most of the Wrestling Uncensored universe, right?
I hope so.
But what will these matches really be? Like, I don't know if these matches are actually going to be good. I want to see them more out of a curiosity factor than, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest match.
Well, I think Charlotte can carry Ronda to a pretty good match. She has the experience enough to do it. She's had big enough matches, I think, to carry someone like Ronda. Ronda's not that bad either. It's just, obviously she practices a lot. That's it. But as long as Charlotte's guiding the way, I'd feel confident that it should be all right. Just as long as maybe they don't try to do too much, I think they'll be fine.
We'll see.
With Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar, Brock's just going to do what he wants. That's it. You just have to accept that.
Hopefully he wants to keep Daniel Bryan in one piece. That's all I hope. But I'm excited about this. I think this is good all the way. I know people really wanted to see Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. I don't think anybody's disappointed that we're getting Daniel Bryan instead of AJ Styles, though.
I kind of am a little bit. I thought that was an amazing match last year. It was one of the best matches we had in all of WWE last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very disappointed we get to see the rematch where AJ possibly could have won.
You think it would have been a better match?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I'm really disappointed by that. Now it's like, wow, just another Brock beatdown. This actually is a huge letdown.
Yeah, but it's with Daniel Bryan, so you never know what it might be. You never know. This is Daniel Bryan. This is not just, Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns. This is a different situation.
After Crown Jewel, I just want to get your hopes up. That's it. I mean,
when's the last time Brock faced somebody this good?
AJ Styles.
Yeah, it's been a year since he faced anyone near the level of a Daniel Bryan. So don't be so sure that it's going to be just a squash and whatever.
It might be an elaborate squash, but I just don't have my hopes up. With Brock Lesnar, I just feel that he's just in it because it's extra money, but he doesn't want to work too hard.
Daniel Bryan has been thinking about this match for years. It's going to be good.
He's going to make it the best 5 minutes he can.
Yeah. He's going to do something. It's going to be special because he's Daniel Bryan. He's the best damn wrestler in the world. He's a WWE champion for a reason.
As long as you say that, you're not fearing for his life. Why you say that?
So Ronda definitely beat Charlotte, though, right? So the Raw MMA fighters will go over the SmackDown Pro wrestlers.
Well, we thought that going into this before anyways, right? So nothing really changes, just the opponents are different.
Yeah. And Becky Lynch getting hurt here is maybe good for Becky long term if she can recover from the injury because it will postpone the Ronda match. She doesn't have to lose to Ronda here. She can continue building momentum as the hottest act in professional wrestling today. I don't think you can argue that Becky Lynch is just gaining steam more than anybody else in professional wrestling right now. The crowds are going nuts for her, and if you continue to gain steam and don't lose to Ronda now, maybe you can push it all the way to WrestleMania and have the match then with Ronda, and maybe you even beat Ronda at that point. Ronda's got to lose at some point.
I like the theory that one of our fans, Sasha Lagarde, posted on Twitter saying that you have Becky forfeit the title because of injury. She can't defend it. And then by the time she comes back, it's the Rumble, and she wins the Rumble, the Women's Rumble. Then goes on to face Ronda.
Maybe. It's a theory.
I think that could work.
Taking a month and a half off until the Rumble is not a bad idea. A couple months.
If you have a severe concussion, you might have to.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? Severe concussions could be the end of your career, too. Hope it's not, but, I mean, you never know. And that's why, Nia Jax, you got to be more careful when you're hitting people. I mean, what the hell? I mean, that's the thing that gets me with this whole thing with Nia Jax is how many punches are thrown on an average night on Monday Night Raw?
Too many.
Tons, though, right? Like,
yeah.
Tons. How many times do you see somebody get busted that hard on a punch? When does that happen?
It's probably like 1 in 10.
Yeah. 1 in 10 punches?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No, it isn't.
In the year, though, like, overall, like, you just did like that. Just probably 110, I think.
No. You're saying 10% of all punches in WWE result in stuff like that? What happened to Becky Lynch getting her nose broken? No way.
Busted nose.
That's 10%. I'd say it's about, 1 or 2%.
Didn't it happen with Drew McIntyre, didn't it? One of his matches, he busted someone open recently?
Maybe.
Was it Roman? It was Roman, actually, that he busted open on a punch.
It happens, but it doesn't happen that often. And okay, maybe you're going to cut somebody, but to break their nose and do what she did to Becky Lynch, I mean, come on. It's
wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's bad when you compare it to everybody else who's throwing a bunch of punches and getting by, not hurting anybody.
Well, it's different because all their learning experiences are different, right? You have some people that have been training throughout the world, going to different promotions.
Yeah, we have good wrestlers and we have not so good wrestlers.
We have some that just came from NXT and that's it. They have their set standard of what they do and that's it. So, yeah, it's different. It's difficult for everyone because not everyone's trained the same.
Yeah. And now Becky Lynch is out of the match at Survivor Series. She's not booked at Survivor Series. She can't wrestle. The one good thing, though, is the only time Becky and Ronda have really had any kind of physical altercation, it was Ronda Rousey getting put in an armbar by Becky Lynch. So Becky looks strong in her only confrontation with Ronda.
This is all good in a sense. I mean, it's terrible that she got injured. It's too bad, but they're spinning this in the best way they possibly can for Becky. So this isn't bad whatsoever. It's just you got to hope she can come back from this because, again, who knows how long she'll be out for.
That's it. You got to hope that she can come back because if she can, she's poised for a gigantic run in the WWE. All right, we have WWE Survivor Series going down tomorrow. We're going to give you the full preview, the full rundown of the whole show, tell you who's going to win and who is not going to win. Who will be the sole survivors for Survivor Series? It is Wrestling Uncensored here on TSN 690. Stay with us.
What's going on, y'all? This is WWE superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Santino Varela, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA, and follow Johnny at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. And you can follow me on Instagram, too, at Dave Simon MMA. Survivor Series going down tomorrow night. Right after Survivor Series, we will be live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET. It's the place to be. You got Dave and Johnny live. You got the new episode of What's Phantom in Japan, the New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast. New episode just dropped this week. Myself and the Green Phantom talking about Japanese wrestling. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You really can't. Great episode this week. Great stuff from Green Phantom. Always great insight from the big man. And then we have, of course, Ringside Report Radio. And right after Survivor Series, Johnny North will be with me right here live to break everything down that we see at Survivor Series. The post show.
It's a jam-packed week without question.
Huge week. I mean, look at all the content we're giving you this week. We had What's Phantom in Japan drop earlier this week on Tuesday night. We have Ringside Report Radio last night. Yesterday afternoon, we had Dave and Johnny live. Right now, we're doing Wrestling Uncensored. And then tomorrow night, we have the Survivor Series post-show. I lost track. How many shows is that? 5 in a week?
At least. It's a lot.
Get everything on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. There's so much going on our YouTube channel, on ringsidereport.net, the website as well. Just go there. Just go there because we're dropping so much content. This week has been jam-packed. Dave and Johnny Live was like an hour-long show this week. We talked about everything, pro wrestling to 90 Day Fiancé.
And Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, my favorite video game that I've been playing nonstop. Well, I do have to stop sometimes, but I don't want to.
You got to come back to the real world.
Which is WWE, apparently. My real world is professional wrestling, which really skews my ability to figure out what's real and what's not sometimes. But, hey, I figure it out. So we have Seth Rollins taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, the United States champion, the United States of Nakamerica. I hope Shinsuke wins. I know he definitely will not.
I actually think he's going to win because they've kind of skewed this where he should, because Seth isn't thinking about Shinsuke. He's too conflicted about the whole Dean Ambrose situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why he's going to win.
Maybe even Dean Ambrose costing Seth Rollins the match. I could see Dean interfering somehow.
So I think,
Dean isn't booked, right? This is his spot to show up.
Yeah, Nakamura's definitely winning this match.
Oh, nice. I think the match could be very good. First time ever, Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's cool, man. That's a cool matchup.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
Wait and see.
This could be match of the night. I'm excited. I'm not like a huge Seth Rollins fan, but I'm a big Nakamura fan, and I recognize that Seth Rollins, he's got ability, and with the right opponent, he could have some really good matches. Shinsuke is a really good wrestler, so I'm excited to see what they do. I'm not saying guaranteed great match, but I'm interested. It's not a match, like a lot of times Seth Rollins has these matches, like, when he wrestles Dean Ambrose, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to see this. That's going to happen eventually, and I really don't want to see it because I don't care. But Seth Rollins and Nakamura, it's like a Seth Rollins match that I can get behind, something I can care about. I won't leave the room during this match.
The thing is, it's hard to get behind Nakamura. I feel sometimes, his matches can be good, and other times the matches are just kind of duds. So I don't know how this is going to fall under.
I feel like most of his matches are pretty solid. Even the matches that are not, like, incredible are still better than 90% of the guys out there.
I think what hurt him a lot was that Jinder feud. Those matches with Jinder Mahal really just... It took away the aura of Nakamura.
Jinder Mahal's terrible.
But he had to work a program with them, and he lost that program, too.
Yeah, well, now he's a U.S. champion, and he's working a program with nobody. He hasn't really had a feud at all in months. This Seth Rollins thing is the first thing that Nakamura's actually done in a very long time. Like he's had nobody to kind of cut a promo on.
Moves are fine, and we're going to see some cool moves, but if there's no drama, there's no excitement behind them, it takes away from the enjoyment of wrestling. And I just feel like it's just two guys who do cool moves.
Would have been good had they had a physical confrontation before this match. Like Seth attacking Nakamura or vice versa would have been good.
Well,
just to build some sort of heat, right?
The idea is that Seth's not even thinking about it, so why should I think about it if he doesn't care?
And Seth is totally focused on Dean Ambrose. Like most of what you see from Seth Rollins, like the promo he did on Raw this week, it was about Dean Ambrose. Then Dean Ambrose was, backstage, and he took his Shield vest and he put it in the fire, and Seth was all mad. That was not great.
It wasn't, but at least they kept it going with asking Renee, like, what the heck's going on, and she sticks to her story that she doesn't know. It'd be nice if they actually had it that Renee turns heel in all this, but...
She should.
They're not that far yet.
They're like, Renee, what do you think about all this? What is Dean Ambrose saying to you? Why is he doing this? And she's like, I don't know. He's not telling me anything. I don't know. It's like, well, why don't you ask him? You're his wife, are you not? Oh, boy. Yeah, so we have Finn Balor beating Dolph Ziggler this week, and in doing so, he qualifies for Team Raw. So Team Raw will be Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley. They take on... Did you know Bobby Lashley's real name was Franklin Roberto Lashley?
I did not know that.
Is that real? Franklin Roberto? Frank Lashley? Wow.
Yet in Bellator, they still call him Bobby Lashley.
Well, it's his gimmick name. In UFC, they called Phil Brooks CM Punk, so,
I guess, yeah.
Gimmick, brother. You got to work that gimmick. So Frank Lashley on Team Raw, taking on Team SmackDown, Miz, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and Shane McMahon. Man, even though Team SmackDown has the Miz on it, they're still a way better team.
But they're going to lose, though.
Probably. I don't know, though, will they?
Yeah, the whole story is
Team
Braun
Raw
Strowman.
loses. Team Raw's winning way too much in your world here. Well, let's break it down. We've got Ronda Rousey going to beat Charlotte Flair, so that's 1 for Team Raw.
Uh-huh.
Brock Lesnar going to beat Daniel Bryan. That's 2 for Team Raw.
Right.
Team Raw men going to beat Team SmackDown men. 3 for Team Raw.
Right.
Nakamura going to beat Seth Rollins. There's 1 for Team SmackDown. It's 3-1. How about the tag team one? Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Team SmackDown is going to win. 3-2.
Right.
How about the Authors of Pain versus The Bar?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Authors of Pain.
Okay, so 4-2 for Raw. And the women, SmackDown has to win now, right?
Right.
So 4-3,
Right.
Raw wins.
Right.
And that's it. That's it.
I guess maybe
That's Survivor Series.
maybe the Raw women could win. And
So there are 7 Raw versus SmackDown matches, so one brand has to win.
yeah, they always set up like this. Maybe I could see possibly Authors of Pain lose, and maybe Team Raw women win.
Authors of Pain aren't going to lose. They don't lose really at all. Unless Big Show. Big Show's going to be in Cesaro and Sheamus' corner.
Right.
If he interferes and maybe causes something to go down, maybe the Bar wins.
It's not impossible because I look at Team Raw for the women, like they're a lot better team than the SmackDown women, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Team Raw, Mickie James, Natalya, Nia Jax, Tamina, and Ruby Riott. You think that's a better team than Team SmackDown? I don't. Team SmackDown has Asuka, Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, and somebody?
Probably Mandy Rose.
Probably Mandy Rose. Oh, yeah, it's not a strong team. Because Charlotte was on Team SmackDown, but now she's gone because she's wrestling Ronda.
Changes the whole game now.
Probably Mandy Rose. Who else is there?
There isn't really anybody else. Unless you use like one of the Iconics.
How about Nikki Cross?
Yeah, sure. Why not? But still, like, I still like the Raw women team better.
Oh, yeah, it could be one of the Iconics.
You have choices. Lana, like.
Oh, yeah.
But still, like, it's the Raw women. They should win this. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I think the Raw women could win, but I'm going to go with the SmackDown women. Asuka. Asuka doesn't really lose much. Nia Jax should get eliminated first. That should be her punishment.
No, she'll be at the end because you want her to get eliminated.
Nah, you just get rid of her first so she doesn't get much of a showing. That's what I would do. I would have Natty eliminated at the end because Natty deserves to get the most TV time.
And yet she'll be eliminated first.
Maybe Ruby Riott or Tamina or Mickie James even.
Well, Ruby was the last one picked, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine she's going to have a decent showing.
What did you think of the Riot Squad's promo talking about Natty and breaking Jim Neidhart's glasses the week before?
That might spell the end of this little team here. This could be their downfall.
Natty fighting with the Riot Squad? Maybe Sasha and Bayley showing up and then just have a brawl?
Well, they could play that story that the Raw teams aren't working out together, that they're breaking up, and that could play into the men's match where Stephanie is like, hey, you guys better work together. Don't screw up like the other ones did. That could happen.
I guess. I'm happy that Frank Lashley is on the team and not Elias. They had a qualifying match, and Frank Lashley won, beat Elias by countout. He's Frank now to me, all right? Franklin Roberto.
I find it interesting now that Lashley wears sunglasses. I think it was,
I like it.
It was obvious, you could tell by his eyes that he was just very uncomfortable doing the gimmick. Now it's not as obvious with him wearing the glasses.
Yeah, he looks more confident when you don't see his eyes. Also, the sunglasses hide the fact that he has no eyebrows.
It might be for that look too, yeah, perhaps.
What's going on there? Does he have alopecia? Do we know? Like, what's the deal? Why does Bobby Lashley have no eyebrows? He's got no body hair that I can tell. He's got no beard. He's got no hair on his head. He's got no eyebrows. He's got no body hair, but a lot of the wrestlers have no body hair. So I don't know. Is it a medical condition or is it like a choice? Why does he have no eyebrows? They paint them on sometimes, but they look weird. They always look weird when they're painted on. You know, women can pull that off, but like painted on eyebrows for dudes, you can always tell, and it looks bizarre. Even on women, like, you know, some women, they like pluck
over-exaggerate.
No. Like, some women, man, they will rip their whole eyebrows out, like wax them or shave them or whatever.
Okay.
And then they'll like draw in eyebrows instead. It's like, you got eyebrows. Why don't I just keep them? It's weird, man.
Yeah, but they stand out more if you draw them.
You gonna start doing that? Why don't
I'm not gonna start
Why don't
doing
you
that.
wax your eyebrows and start drawing them in? You'll be like Bobby Lashley.
For me, that's not a thing. I don't know why people like to do it, but
Well, women do it. It's a women thing. It's I don't know. They wear makeup, you know? Women paint their faces all the time. I don't get it. I don't paint my face. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about what they're doing, it's face paint that they're putting on.
Jeff Hardy does it.
He's a wrestler, though.
Yeah.
Women do it just to walk around. And we love him for it. Respect to you, ladies. What are we doing? Oh, boy.
You started
Oh,
this,
boy,
right?
I did. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone there. All right, what else do we got here at Survivor Series? Anything?
I think there's a Cruiserweight title match.
Oh, boy. Buddy Murphy, the Cruiserweight champion, defending against Mustafa Ali.
You know, that will probably be a really good match as well, though.
Probably.
Just, no heat because no one really knows what's going on with 205.
No one's watching 205 Live. Of course, NXT TakeOver going down tonight, right? War Games.
There's only 4 matches. Which
Yeah.
includes War Games. So that's it. It's such a long match. It makes sense.
Definitely watching that. NXT War Games. It's just one War Games match, though, right? Undisputed Era. Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong taking on Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe. And then you got Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa defending the NXT title against Velveteen Dream, and Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Women's title. That all going down tonight, earlier tonight at the War Games. And then that's the NXT TakeOver, preparing for tomorrow night, Survivor Series.
Big night of wrestling. Big weekend of wrestling when you think about it.
Huge weekend in professional wrestling. Huge week, really, in professional wrestling. Becky Lynch, Daniel Bryan, Survivor Series. And then we're about a month away from TLC.
I'm looking forward to that. It's a good way to end the year when you think about it. You need a pay-per-view that really, it sets it off on a good note. Not just another one of these like roadblock kind of pay-per-views that don't really do anything. TLC, at least you're guaranteed that you're going to see some violence.
Yeah, and you're going to see some exciting matches. Just quickly here as we're wrapping up, Big Show and the Bar beat the New Day this week.
In a 6-man.
Yeah. Cool match. I enjoyed it. It was fine. Big Show had a lot of trouble getting up, though. Did you see that after he hit the punch on Kofi Kingston and pinned him? He was trying to stand up, and it took a while. It looked hard for him to get back up, and I was just like, man, it's just, Big Show's been wrestling for a long time. It's like, how long do you have to keep wrestling for? He didn't look as good as he has in the past moving around. That said, I love Big Show, and I'll support seeing him. He doesn't look terrible. He just looked like he had a lot of trouble getting up off the mat. Can we get an explanation as to why he's there with the Bar? Can we get a promo? Can we get something? Can we get a name of the team? Because this is past Crown Jewel. We thought maybe they would just kind of bring Big... Because he showed up on SmackDown 1000 or whatever and had a little match, and then he was with the Bar the next week, and it was never really explained. And now he's still with the Bar. We're like a month into this thing, and we haven't had anything explaining why Big Show is with these guys. We haven't had a promo. We haven't had anything. Big Show is just with Cesaro and Sheamus now for some reason. They're the tag team champions. They're one of the best tag teams in the entire world. Big Show is a future Hall of Famer. He is with them now, and we have had zero explanation on SmackDown as to why. That should change. Like, make an effort. Put some focus on Big Show and Cesaro and Sheamus. And instead of just saying, yeah, Big Show's just with them, tell us why. Like, just tell me, okay, Cesaro and Sheamus, they see that what the New Day's doing with a 3-man group, they decided they needed a third man to help them out, and they got Big Show. That's all you have to say, but, say it. Cesaro and Sheamus should get more promo time with Big Show. Let me see some personality out of that group. Let me see something, because I don't care about them as much as I should. Because we really don't see much of them. They're there to fill ring time. They use the bar to go out there and have good matches. That's all we know about them. All we know about the bar is that Sheamus is from Ireland, Cesaro's from Switzerland, and now Big Show is their friend. They're good at wrestling. They're big guys. They're the tag team champions. We get nothing of their personality. We get no insight. We get nothing. Do a pre-taped thing on location somewhere. Give me something with the bar on SmackDown so I can care about my tag team champions. Because when you have a SmackDown tag division that has New Day and the Usos, two teams that have tons of personality and are both given tons of promo time, but then your tag team champions have no real personality and are given no promo time, well, they don't really work as your tag team champions. I want to believe in these guys as the top guys in the tag division because they're the champions, but when you don't really see much of them, you don't really care. And you're like, when's the New Day going to get the titles back? When are the Usos going to get the titles back? Because when they're with the bar, it's just kind of, they're with the bar and who cares?
Well, it is kind of self-explanatory where they needed someone to even the odds against the New Day, right?
Why not explain that to us, though?
They haven't gone that far yet with this story, unfortunately.
Give us a team name. I mean, it's clear the Big Show is still with them. Invest in it. That's all I'm saying. Do something. Think about it. Put some effort into it. Not just, we have Big Show, we have the bar, let's just put them together.
I just think WWE's been kind of distracted with going to Crown Jewel, that whole controversy, and then Survivor Series, where it's both shows against each other. They don't really have time, or they didn't put time and effort towards it, unfortunately. So that's why, and I think it will be explained. It's just not the priority right now. And it goes to show you the SmackDown Tag Team Division, there's the New Day, and then there's everybody else.
And we're going into this match of Survivor Series, the Authors of Pain against the Bar. We spent no time talking about it because no one cares. No one cares.
Well, the Authors of Pain won the titles in a handicap match recently.
Yeah.
So it's a match that comes up out of nowhere. It wasn't really something you're looking forward to. It's just, two teams against each other. They happen to be the champions, and that's it. Which
is disappointing because the match could be incredible. You look at the matchup, they're four big guys that hit hard, that can wrestle. This is going to be good. It's going to be really good.
It could surprise a lot of people, but will it? I don't know. Again, Authors of Pain, kind of new on the roster. You don't know what to expect. I find sometimes, they can be really good. Sometimes it looks like they don't belong.
They hit hard, though, And Sheamus is one of these guys that hits hard. Cesaro's a big, strong guy. Man, there's possibilities of doing some stuff. And then you got that little guy on the outside for Authors of Pain with the big guy, Big Show on the outside for Cesaro and Sheamus. There's real possibilities there. That's what I'm saying. This is all talent. This is all good stuff. And WWE's putting no effort into it. It's too bad. Because everybody's going into this this is going to be nothing. Who cares? And if you put a little bit more time and effort into the story, into these two teams, you might go into Survivor Series caring about this match rather than it just being filler on the card. Because right now it's just filler.
It's also two heel teams against each other.
Yeah.
So it's hard for anyone to really care when you're not supposed to care about these two teams.
I suppose. Final question. Will AJ Styles be at Survivor Series? And will Randy Orton be at Survivor Series? I'm surprised Orton didn't get a spot on Team SmackDown. And I could see him costing Team SmackDown the match, hitting people with RKOs. Because he's been just doing that, right? Miz and Ray had a match this week. Ray rolled up Miz and beat him. And then Randy looked like he was going to go hit an RKO on Ray, and then Ray kind of pushed him away, so Randy hit Miz with the RKO instead. So Randy seems to be attacking Team SmackDown. I could see him doing it at Survivor Series or not. I could see Randy also getting the night off because it's Randy. But will AJ Styles or Randy Orton be at Survivor Series?
I think Orton, there's a strong possibility he'll just get an RKO out of nowhere. AJ Styles, unfortunately, I feel he's just not going to be on the show. There's just no place for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Right now, it makes sense.
It's sad.
It would be cool to see AJ Styles just ringside or on commentary for the Brock Lesnar-Daniel Bryan match.
I guess, but it just adds something that's not really necessary for that match. You just want it to be about Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar. But, I mean, if they want to put an out for Daniel where, he lost because AJ was distracting him, sure. I don't think that's needed, but fine.
Well, maybe not even that, but just to have him there. Just to have him there to remind everybody Daniel Bryan's next opponent will be AJ Styles. And just to kind of remind everybody that AJ Styles is there and, have him on the show. But it's not necessary, and I could see them not doing that. Johnny North, when is your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It's actually only a couple hours from now. It's going to be at 2 p.m. It's going to be against Savage Paulson at Drew Onyx's Torture Chamber, 4325 Industrial Boulevard in Montreal. And tickets are $8.
Sweet. So for more on that, check out his info at North Genesis on Instagram. No, wait. Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. North Genesis on Twitter.
Correct.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. And WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Go to our YouTube channel tomorrow night, right after Survivor Series. Johnny North and I will be live right after the show. Check us out for the Survivor Series post-show, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We will be live with you discussing everything that happens at Survivor Series. Big thanks to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a thanks to you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow after Survivor Series. Until then, for Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.